The fist crashed into Maya's jaw before she even saw it coming. Blood sprayed across the gymnasium floor. 3 varsity athletes circled her like wolves, their laughter echoing off the walls. Chad Preston grabbed her throat and slammed her against the bleachers. "Thought you could hide forever," he snarled. "This is what happens to animals who forget their place." His friends moved closer, phones recorded. No one helped. Maya's vision blurred. Her lungs burned. 8 years of training screamed through her muscles. She smiled through the blood. "You have no idea what you just woke up." Her hand shot forward. And the hunter became the hunted. Before we continue, comment where you are watching from and subscribe, because tomorrow's story is one you cannot miss. Before we continue, drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. And make sure to subscribe, because tomorrow's story is absolutely one you cannot miss. Angela Thompson's worn Honda Civic pulled into Greystone Academy's circular driveway with a sputter and cough that seemed to apologize for bringing them here. The car looked embarrassed to exist among the Mercedes and BMWs already filling the parking lot. Angela's fingers strangled the steering wheel. "You sure about this, baby?" Her voice carried the weight of every worry she had swallowed for the past month. "We could still look at other schools. There are options." Maya adjusted her backpack straps with steady hands. Her expression was calm in the way that concerned her mother most. "Mom, we talked about this 100 times. Better academics mean better college chances, full scholarship opportunity. I'll be fine." Angela didn't move to unlock the doors. Her eyes stayed fixed on the marble columns rising before them, on the manicured lawns stretching in every direction, on the clusters of white students whose clothes probably cost more than their monthly rent. "I know that look, Maya. I've seen it before competitions. Just remember what we discussed. Sometimes staying low keeps you alive." Maya turned to face her mother fully. She saw the fear there. The old fear that never completely disappeared no matter how many years passed. "I remember, Mom. I promise." She leaned over and pressed her lips to her mother's cheek. Angela smelled like cocoa butter and lavender and 12-hour nursing shifts. "Love you." Angela grabbed her daughter's hand before she could pull away, held it tight enough to bruise. "You call me?" she said fiercely. "Anything happens, anything at all, you call me immediately. I will leave work. I will drive through walls. You understand me? I understand." Maya squeezed back once, then opened the car door before her mother could see the moisture gathering in her own eyes. The morning air hit her face like a warning. Cold and unwelcoming. Hostile in a way that had nothing to do with temperature. Students clustered near the entrance in groups that looked impenetrable. Designer clothes. Easy laughter. The casual confidence of people who had never questioned whether they belonged anywhere. Maya walked toward them. The conversations died like someone had flipped a switch. Heads swiveled in her direction. Eyes tracked her movement with expressions ranging from curiosity to open disgust. Her footsteps echoed against the sudden silence. Each step announced her presence. Each step declared her refusal to shrink. She pushed through the heavy front doors. The main office gleamed with mahogany furniture and brass fixtures. A secretary with bottle blonde hair and lips painted an aggressive shade of coral sat behind an enormous desk. She was typing something and didn't look up. Maya waited. The typing continued. She waited longer. Finally, without raising her eyes. "Name, Maya Thompson. I'm the new transfer student." The secretary's fingers paused for exactly 1 second. Something flickered across her face. Gone before Maya could identify it. Schedule. A stack of papers slid across the counter. No eye contact. No welcome. No acknowledgement that Maya was a human being rather than an inconvenience. Maps on the back. Bathroom passes require teacher signatures. Lunch is at 11:45 for juniors. Maya picked up the papers. Her eyes swept the wall behind the secretary's desk. Photographs lined every inch. Football teams spanning decades. Basketball championships. Academic decathlon winners. Every single face was white. A bronze plaque caught her attention, "Heritage Not Hate." Greystone Confederate Memorial Society, founded 1962. Maya's stomach clenched, but her face revealed nothing. She had learned that lesson before she learned to read. "Thank you," she said evenly. The secretary was already typing again. The hallway swallowed her the moment she stepped out of the office. Bodies flowed around her like she was a rock disrupting a stream. Conversations halted mid-sentence as she passed. Phones materialized from pockets and purses held at angles that pretended to be casual. "Yo, Preston." The voice cut through the whisper like a blade. Maya kept walking, but her ears tracked the sound. "Check it out." Admissions finally hit their diversity quota. Laughter rippled through the crowd, the kind of laughter designed to draw blood. A figure emerged from the mass of students directly in her path, tall, athletic. A varsity jacket stretched across shoulders that had never known real challenge, perfect teeth that had never been knocked loose. A haircut that cost more than Maya's entire outfit. Chad Preston planted himself in front of her like he owned the hallway. Because he did. Well. His drawl was thick and exaggerated, performed for his audience. Affirmative action. Barbie finally arrives at Greystone. The laughter grew louder, more confident. The crowd smelled weakness and gathered closer. "Did you get lost on your way to public school?" Chad tilted his head with mock concern. "Or did your welfare check finally clear?" Maya's feet kept moving. Measured steps. Controlled breathing. Every instinct screamed at her to respond, but she had learned young that reaction was fuel. Reaction was victory for predators like him. She found her locker, worked the combination with steady fingers, opened it smoothly despite the hostile stares drilling into her back. "I asked you a question." Chad's voice was closer now, close enough that she could smell his cologne, something expensive and aggressive and desperate to prove itself. Maya placed her textbooks on the shelf one at a time, arranged them neatly, took her time as if she had all day and nowhere else to be. "You deaf?" Chad's voice hardened. "Or just stupid?" She turned slowly, met his eyes without flinching. Most people looked away when Chad Preston stared them down. His father owned half the town. His uncle coached the football team. His family had donated the gymnasium and the library and probably the dean's summer house. Maya didn't look away. "I heard you," she said quietly. "I just didn't find you interesting enough to respond to." Something shifted in Chad's expression. The smirk faltered. His jaw tightened. A vein pulsed in his temple that probably never pulsed when he was getting his way. The crowd had swelled to 30 students. 40. Phones recorded from every angle. The whole school would see this by lunch. "You've got a mouth on you." Chad stepped close enough that she could count his pores. "That's going to be a problem for you. Only for people who can't handle a girl with opinions." His hand shot toward her face. Maya didn't flinch, didn't step back, didn't give him the satisfaction of fear. His fingers stopped an inch from her cheek. A fake out. A test. His friends howled with laughter at her supposed close call. "We'll see," Chad whispered. "We'll see exactly how long you last here." He turned and walked away. His entourage followed like obedient dogs. The crowd dispersed slowly, reluctantly disappointed that blood hadn't been spilled. Maya turned back to her locker. Her hands were steady as she gathered books for first period, but beneath her ribs, her heart slammed against bone like it was trying to escape. Room 214, American History. She had 45 seconds to get there. She made it with 10 seconds to spare. The classroom was already full when Maya walked through the door. 23 students, arranged in perfect rows, their desks polished to a shine that matched their privilege. Mr. Patterson stood at the front. Thin, wire-rimmed glasses, a beard that tried too hard. He was mid-sentence when Maya entered. He didn't pause, didn't acknowledge her, didn't indicate in any way that a new student had just joined his class. Maya found an empty desk near the back corner. The girl beside her took one look and immediately gathered her things. "That seat is saved," the girl said loudly enough for everyone to hear. She moved 3 rows away. The desk beside Maya remained empty. an island of rejection in a sea of silent hostility. Mr. Patterson droned on. Today we continue our examination of the War of Northern Aggression. Please open your textbooks to Chapter 7. Maya's pen froze above her notebook. War of Northern Aggression. She knew the term, knew exactly what kind of person used it, knew exactly what kind of school would put it in a curriculum. She opened her textbook anyway. The lesson unfolded like a fever dream: states' rights, economic differences, the noble sacrifice of Southern soldiers defending their homeland against federal tyranny. Slavery appeared once. A footnote. An afterthought to a larger narrative about honor and heritage. Mr. Patterson's voice carried the authority of someone who had never been questioned and never expected to be. Can anyone explain the primary cause of the war? A hand shot up in the front row. Tyler Brooks, according to the name on his varsity jacket. States' rights. Tyler answered confidently. The federal government overreached its constitutional authority. Excellent. Mr. Patterson nodded approvingly. The South was merely defending principles enshrined in our founding documents. Maya thought about raising her hand. Thought about mentioning the declarations of secession that explicitly cited slavery as the cornerstone of the new Confederate government. Thought about the actual words written by actual Confederate leaders in actual historical documents. She looked at the faces around her. Hostile. Waiting. Hoping she would give them a reason. Her hand stayed down. Her pen moved across paper. Her face revealed nothing. But inside her chest, something hot and sharp was building pressure. The bell rang. Maya gathered her books and walked toward second period. The hallway parted around her like she carried disease. Whispers followed in her wake. That's her, the new one. I heard she's from the projects. Probably here on some diversity thing. Won't last a month. Maya kept walking. Third period, fourth period. The morning stretched like torture. Teachers ignored her raised hand. Students changed seats when she sat nearby. Her perfectly completed worksheet came back marked with a D and no explanation. By lunch, her jaw ached from clenching her teeth. The cafeteria roared with noise and chaos. Hundreds of students claiming tables in patterns established years before Maya was born. Athletes in the center, cheerleaders by the windows, academic overachievers near the salad bar. There was no place for Maya Thompson. She loaded her tray. Pasta, milk, fruit salad. The lunch lady didn't meet her eyes. Maya carried her tray toward the only empty table she could find. Far corner. Bad lighting. The reject zone that probably hadn't been cleaned since the school opened. She felt him before she saw him. That predatory energy. That confidence born from a lifetime of dominance. Chad Preston moved through the cafeteria like a shark through still water. His foot shot out as she passed. The tray launched from her hands. Pasta exploded across the floor in a spray of marinara. Milk splashed across her white shirt. Fruit salad decorated her jeans and sneakers. The cafeteria erupted. Laughter cascaded from every direction. Camera flashes strobed like a nightmare. 200 students witnessed her humiliation and recorded it for posterity. Oops, Chad's voice carried above the chaos. Guess the new girl isn't used to our floors yet. Maybe they don't have floors where she comes from. More laughter. Crueler now, building on itself. Maya stood perfectly still. Pasta sauce dripped down her chest. Milk soaked through her jeans. The smell of food and shame rose around her like fog. Her hands did not shake. She grabbed napkins from a nearby dispenser, crouched down and began cleaning the floor. Every movement deliberate. Every motion controlled. She would not give them tears. Need some help there, Coach Davis appeared from nowhere, built like a refrigerator. Same smirk as his nephew. His hand rested on Chad's shoulder in a gesture that communicated everything. Accidents happen, right, Preston? Sure do, Coach. Chad's grin could have lit a bonfire. Just trying to help the new girl feel welcome. Greystone hospitality. Coach Davis chuckled. The sound was worse than the laughter. More intimate. More complicit. Get to practice, son. Big game Friday. He walked away without a glance at Maya, without acknowledging the mess, without pretending for even a second that anything wrong had occurred. Maya finished cleaning the floor. She carried her ruined lunch to the trash. She walked to the bathroom with her head high while phones documented every step of her retreat. The bathroom mirror showed the damage. Sauce stained her shirt beyond saving. Her jeans would need industrial-strength cleaning. Marinara dripped from her hair, but her eyes were dry. Her jaw was set. Her fists were steady at her sides. She had survived much worse than Chad Preston. The final bell released her at 3:15. Angela's Civic waited in the pickup lane, engine running, eyes searching. Maya climbed in without a word. Angela saw the stained clothes, the sauce in her hair, the rigid set of her daughter's shoulders. Baby. Angela's voice was careful. How was the first day? Fine. Maya stared straight ahead. Her hands lay flat on her thighs, perfectly still in a way that screamed louder than words. Your shirt. Spilled my lunch. Accident. No big deal. Angela's fingers tightened on the steering wheel until her knuckles went white. She knew her daughter, knew what that stillness meant, knew the difference between calm and the kind of control that came from swallowing enough rage to burn cities. She drove toward home without pushing further. That evening, Maya sat at the kitchen table forcing herself through calculus homework. The equations blurred before her eyes. Every time she blinked, she saw Chad's smirk, heard the laughter, felt the sauce dripping down her skin. Angela moved around the kitchen pretending to cook, but mostly watching her daughter with worried eyes. You know, Angela said finally, if anyone is giving you trouble at that school. Mom. Maya looked up. Something dangerous moved behind her eyes. I'm handling it. That's exactly what worries me. Angela set down her spatula. She pulled out a chair and sat across from her daughter. Their knees almost touched beneath the small table. I taught you to defend yourself, baby, but sometimes fighting back isn't... I'm not scared of them. Maya's voice was quiet, certain, cold in a way that made Angela's heart ache. Maybe you should be. Angela leaned forward. These people have money, power, influence. They can hurt you in ways that go way beyond bruises. So I should just let them torment me. Maya's eyes flashed. Just take it and smile. Just be a good, quiet victim like... She stopped herself, but not fast enough. The words hung unfinished between them, both knowing exactly how that sentence ended. Angela flinched like she'd been slapped. Like me, she whispered. Like I did for years with your father. Maya's anger crumbled. Shame rushed in to replace it. Mom, I didn't mean... I'm sorry. That was... No. Angela reached across the table and grabbed her daughter's hands, held them tight enough to anchor them both. You're right. I let fear control me for too long. I stayed when I should have run. I was silent when I should have screamed. And you saw all of it. Tears slipped down Angela's cheeks. She didn't wipe them away. But baby, I just want you safe. That's all I've ever wanted since the day you were born. Keep you safe from the world. Keep you safe from men like your father. Keep you safe from people who see your skin color before they see your soul. Maya squeezed her mother's hands. You did keep me safe. You got us out. You worked 3 jobs to give me a future. You put me in martial arts classes so I would never feel helpless again. Angela's breath caught. And I'm not helpless, Mom. Not anymore. You made sure of that. They sat in silence for a long moment. Mother and daughter. Survivor and warrior. 2 women forged in fire. What exactly did they do to you today? Angela asked finally. Tell me everything. Maya told her. Every detail. The shove at the entrance. The slurs in the hallway. The trip in the cafeteria. The teacher who graded her wrong. The coach who protected his nephew. The phones that documented everything. Angela listened without interrupting, her expression growing harder with each word. By the end, her jaw was set in the same stubborn line as her daughter's. This Chad Preston, Angela said slowly. His father is on the school board, president of the school board, and his uncle is the head coach. Football, undefeated season last year. Angela's eyes narrowed. This is a system, baby, not just one bully. They've built walls around him, protected him, probably been protecting him for years. I know, Mom. Maya pulled out her phone, showed her mother the videos already circulating. The shove, the trip, students laughing while she cleaned the floor. I'm documenting everything Maya said, every incident, every date, every witness. Angela stared at the screen for a long moment. You're planning something. I'm surviving something. For now. Angela stood and walked to the window, looked out at the darkness gathering beyond the glass. I raised you to be strong, she said softly. Raised you to fight back. But I'm terrified of what fighting these people might cost you. Maya came to stand beside her mother. Their reflections overlapped in the glass. Whatever it costs, Maya said, it's less than what silence would take from me. That night sleep wouldn't come. Maya lay in bed staring at the ceiling while shadows crawled across the walls. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Chad's smirk. Heard his friend's laughter, felt hands shoving her backward. Memories mixed with the present until she couldn't tell them apart. She was 8 years old again, trapped in the corner of her bedroom while her father's shadow filled the doorway. His voice thundering about respect and obedience and knowing her place. His hands reaching for her mother, who had stepped between them again. The sound of flesh hitting flesh. Her mother's body hitting the floor. The 8-year-old Maya had been frozen with terror, unable to move, unable to help, unable to do anything but watch. She never felt that helpless again. Angela enrolled her in martial arts classes 2 weeks after they escaped, drove her to a dojo across town where a woman named Sensei Williams taught girls how to transform fear into power. Not so you can hurt people, Angela had explained, so you never have to be afraid of them. 8 years of training followed. 8 years of discipline. 8 years of bruises earned in practice and lessons learned through controlled combat. 2nd-degree black belt by age 16. Maya flexed her fingers in the darkness of her bedroom. Her wrists bore no visible marks, but they remembered every technique, every counter, every pressure point and joint lock and strike zone. Chad Preston had no idea what he was dealing with. None of them did. She finally slept around 2 a.m. The next morning, Maya dressed with purpose. Black hoodie that didn't restrict movement. Comfortable athletic pants. Her favorite sneakers with non-slip soles. She put in her earbuds, pulled up her hood, walked through Greystone's front doors for day 2. Let them stare. Let them whisper. Let them underestimate everything about her. Second period arrived too quickly. The girls' locker room reeked of expensive perfume and cheaper cruelty. Maya changed into gym clothes with efficient movements cataloging every whisper and sidelong glance without appearing to notice. Other girls filed out in clusters. Maya waited. She had learned that moving with the pack only invited deliberate collisions and accidental elbows. The gymnasium sprawled before her like an arena. Polished floors gleamed under harsh lights. Championship banners hung from the rafters like monuments to athletic glory. Coach Davis stood at center court, whistle dangling from his thick neck clipboard in hand. Line up, he barked. 2 laps around the gym, then stretches. Move it. Maya took position at the back of the group. As they began running, she maintained steady pace, keeping distance between herself and the other students. Hey! The voice came from behind, then beside, then in front. Affirmative action. Coach said, run, not walk. Chad jogged backward, facing her with that smirk she was growing to hate. Tyler Brooks flanked him on the left. Marcus Webb on the right. 3 varsity athletes. 3 predators circling prey. Maya kept her pace steady, eyes forward, breath controlled. They were positioning themselves. She read their body language like a textbook, boxing her in near the bleachers, cutting off escape routes, moving her away from witnesses. What's wrong? Chad's voice dripped false concern. Too ghetto to keep up with us. The rest of the class had pulled ahead. Coach Davis was absorbed in his phone, deliberately not watching, deliberately creating opportunity. Of course. Maya's mind shifted into assessment mode. The same mode Sensei Williams had drilled into her through thousands of hours of training. 3 opponents. Size advantage significant. Limited space with bleachers restricting movement. Multiple potential witnesses, but none positioned to intervene. Coach actively ignoring the situation. She reached for her phone to document the harassment. Chad's hand shot out with surprising speed, slapped the phone from her grip. It cracked against the hardwood floor and skittered away. Oops. His smirk widened. Butterfingers. Tyler grabbed her wrist from behind. His fingers dug into her skin with the casual assumption of ownership. Maybe she needs private lessons, Tyler said loud enough for the nearby students to hear. Teach her how we handle problems at Greystone. It was the grip that did it. Fingers closing around her arm with casual cruelty. The assumption that she would submit, because that's what girls like her were supposed to do. The certainty of power over someone smaller and weaker and alone. Suddenly Maya was 8 years old again, trapped in that corner while her father's hands reached for her, his fingers digging into her arm, his voice demanding obedience, his eyes promising consequences. But Maya wasn't 8 anymore, and she would never be helpless again. The wrist lock was instantaneous. Tyler's confident grip became his weakness. Maya's hand rotated in a motion she had practiced 10,000 times. His arm twisted at an angle nature never intended. A sound escaped his throat. Not a scream, more like a grunt of pure confusion as his brain tried to process what was happening. She drove him downward using leverage instead of strength. His own momentum worked against him. His knees buckled. His body followed. He hit the floor with a thud that echoed through the suddenly silent gymnasium. Chad's fist was already swinging. Telegraphed, sloppy, fueled by ego rather than skill. The punch of someone who had never faced real resistance, who had always been bigger or stronger, or more protected than anyone who opposed him. Maya sidestepped smoothly, let his momentum carry him past her. Her palm strike was precise, targeted, controlled, heel of hand to solar plexus. Exactly the amount of force needed to end the threat. Not enough to cause permanent damage. More than enough to shut him down completely. The sound Chad made was more shock than pain. All the oxygen evacuated his lungs at once. His eyes went wide with disbelief. His legs stopped working. He doubled over and dropped to his knees, mouth working like a fish drowning in air. Marcus charged from behind. Pure emotion. Zero strategy. The desperate attack of someone whose worldview was shattering in real time. The girl was supposed to cower. She was supposed to cry. She was not supposed to be dismantling his friends like training dummies. The leg sweep was almost casual. One moment Marcus was rushing forward with righteous fury. The next moment he was horizontal, then vertical again, then staring at the gymnasium ceiling, wondering how the world had flipped upside down. He hit the ground hard enough to bounce. The entire sequence took 8 seconds. Silence swallowed the gymnasium. Complete. Absolute. The kind of silence that follows an explosion when everyone is still processing whether they survived. 3 of Greystone's top athletes lay on the polished floor, groaning, gasping, clutching various body parts that had been functioning normally 10 seconds ago. And the new girl stood among them like the calm eye of a hurricane. Phones were everywhere now, recording from every angle, shaking hands and wide eyes capturing footage that would reshape everything people thought they knew about Maya Thompson. Did you see that someone whispered from the gathering crowd? How many guys jumped her though, yo? She's like trained or something, like professionally trained. Is she even breathing hard? Coach Davis had finally looked up from his phone. His face cycled through emotions too fast to track. Confusion, disbelief, anger, and beneath all of it, something that might have been fear. Maya walked calmly to her fallen phone, picked it up, examined the cracked screen. The recording app was still running its red light blinking steadily. She had captured everything. She turned to face the stunned crowd. Her breathing was controlled. Her stance was balanced. Her voice carried across the silent gymnasium with perfect clarity. Second-degree black belt, 8 years of training. She let that sink in. Maybe learn something about a person before you decide to attack them. Chad tried to push himself up. His arms shook. His face was purple with humiliation and oxygen deprivation. The golden boy of Greystone Academy couldn't even stand. Office. Coach Davis's voice cracked on the word. Now, all of you. Maya was already walking toward the exit. Her steps were measured and deliberate. Students pressed against the walls as she passed, giving her wide berth. She didn't look back. Behind her, chaos erupted. Voices raised in excitement and confusion and alarm. But Maya walked through it all like none of it touched her. Her mother's words echoed in her mind. Never start a fight. But if they bring one to you, make sure they remember why they shouldn't have. 3 of Greystone's finest lay on that gymnasium floor, taken down in 8 seconds by the girl they thought would be an easy target. The girl they had shoved and mocked and tripped and cornered. The girl who had been training for this exact moment since she was 8 years old. The heavy gymnasium doors closed behind her with a boom that sounded like the opening shot of a war. They had no idea what they had just started, but they were about to find out. The fluorescent lights in the administration office buzzed like angry insects as Maya sat perfectly still in the hard plastic chair. Her posture was straight. Her hands were folded in her lap. Her breathing was controlled and even despite the chaos unfolding around her. Across the room, Bryce slouched on the medical bench holding an ice pack to his chest. His breathing came in ragged gasps. Every few seconds he shot Maya a look of pure hatred, mixed with something she had never seen in his eyes before. Fear. Coach Davis paced the small space like a caged animal. His face grew redder by the minute. The veins in his thick neck pulsed visibly as he shot furious glances at Maya between checking on his nephew. "What the hell were you thinking?" Coach Davis finally exploded, stopping directly in front of her chair. "You could have killed them. You could have seriously injured my players right before the championship game." Maya met his gaze without flinching. She remained silent. The office door burst open. 2 paramedics rushed in, followed by Mr. Lambert, the assistant principal. His tie was askew from running across campus. Sweat beaded on his forehead. "What happened here?" Mr. Lambert demanded, looking between Maya and the injured athletes. "I'm getting calls from parents. The superintendent wants answers. Someone explain this to me right now. She attacked us." Bryce's voice cracked as he spoke. He clutched the ice pack tighter against his chest like a shield. "We were just messing around during gym class. Joking. And she went completely crazy. Just started hitting everyone. She's insane. She needs to be locked up." The paramedics moved to examine Bryce. One of them lifted his shirt to check the rapidly forming bruise on his chest. The other checked his pupils for signs of concussion. "That's quite an impact point," the first paramedic noted quietly to his partner. "Clean strike, though. Whoever did this knew exactly where to hit and how hard. Professional level control." Mr. Lambert's eyes narrowed as he turned to face Maya. "Is this true? Did you attack these students unprovoked?" "No, sir." Maya's voice was calm and clear. It cut through the tension in the room like a blade through silk. "They cornered me by the bleachers during gym class. 3 of them. Bryce slapped my phone out of my hand when I tried to record what was happening. Then Tyler grabbed my wrist from behind. I defended myself." "Defended yourself!" Coach Davis let out a harsh laugh that sounded more like a bark. "Look at her, Lambert. She's trained. These boys were just playing around and she treated them like punching bags. She's basically a walking weapon. We can't have someone this dangerous in our school." 3 varsity athletes playing around by surrounding and grabbing a female student who was alone. Maya's tone remained level, but her words carried an edge that made everyone in the room shift uncomfortably. "Would you call that playing if it was your daughter, Coach Davis? Don't you dare turn this around." Coach Davis stepped toward her aggressively. "You don't get to act like the victim here. Not after what you did to my boys." Mr. Lambert held up his hand to stop the coach's advance. "Miss Thompson." His voice dripped with forced patience and barely concealed contempt. "You have to understand how this looks from our perspective. You're clearly trained in some form of combat. A second-degree black belt, if I'm hearing correctly. These boys had no idea what they were dealing with. I'm a student who was cornered and grabbed by 3 larger attackers. Maya met his eyes without wavering. My training means I knew how to stop the situation without causing permanent harm. Tyler's wrist will be sore for a few days. Bryce got the wind knocked out of him. Marcus has some bruises. None of them are seriously injured because I controlled every strike. Would you prefer I had been helpless? Would that make this easier for you to handle? Bryce winced dramatically as the paramedic pressed near his bruise. She just snapped. He whined loudly enough for everyone to hear. 1 minute we're talking and joking around. The next minute she's attacking everyone like some kind of animal. She's unstable. She's dangerous. She needs to be expelled and probably arrested. That's not what the videos show. Maya said it quietly, almost casually, but the words landed like a bomb in the center of the room. Mr. Lambert's expression tightened. Videos. At least 15 students were recording when your athletes surrounded me. Maya pulled out her cracked phone and held it up. You can see them corner me. See Bryce slap my phone away. See Tyler grab me from behind. See exactly what happened and who started it. Every second is documented from multiple angles. Coach Davis's face went pale beneath his anger. Are you threatening us? I'm stating facts. Maya's voice didn't rise, didn't waver, didn't show any emotion at all. I defended myself using appropriate and controlled force against 3 attackers who were each significantly larger than me. It's all documented. The truth is already spreading through the school, phone to phone, student to student. By now it's probably on social media. You can't make this disappear. Mr. Lambert straightened his tie nervously. He was clearly recalculating the situation in his head. Weighing options. Considering angles. Nevertheless, he said slowly, this kind of violent response cannot be tolerated at Greystone Academy, regardless of the circumstances. You should have called for help instead of taking matters into your own hands. Called who? Maya's eyes flickered deliberately to Coach Davis, the teacher who was conveniently looking at his phone while his nephew and friends cornered me. The same teacher who's standing here right now defending them, instead of asking why 3 athletes thought it was okay to surround and grab a female student. Watch yourself, young lady. Coach Davis growled the words through clenched teeth. You have no idea who you're dealing with. The paramedics finished their examination and helped Bryce to his feet. No serious damage, one of them reported to Mr. Lambert. Some bruising. Maybe some muscle strain. He should rest for a few days and avoid strenuous activity. But he'll be fine. See, Bryce jumped on this immediately. She could have killed me. She's dangerous. My father is going to hear about this. He's going to have her expelled and arrested. She's done at this school. Mr. Lambert nodded gravely. His decision was already made. Maya could see it in his eyes. Miss Thompson, given the severity of this incident and your advanced combat training, I have no choice but to suspend you immediately. 10 days minimum, pending a full investigation and a hearing with the school board. And Bryce Maya asked the question, knowing exactly what answer she would receive. Mr. Preston will be sent home to recover from his injuries. Mr. Lambert couldn't meet her eyes as he spoke. We'll discuss any disciplinary action for the other students after reviewing the complete situation. Right now, our priority is ensuring everyone's safety. Safety. Maya let the word hang in the air. Let its hypocrisy echo off the walls. You mean his safety. The safety of the boy whose father runs the school board. The safety of the star quarterback, whose uncle coaches the team. Their safety matters, mine doesn't. That's enough. Mr. Lambert's voice hardened. Your mother has been called. She's on her way to pick you up. I suggest you wait quietly until she arrives. And I strongly suggest you consider whether Greystone Academy is the right environment for someone with your particular background. My particular background. Maya stood slowly. Every eye in the room tracked her movement. She noticed how they all tensed, how Coach Davis shifted his weight backward slightly, how Bryce pressed himself deeper into the medical bench. Fear dressed up as authority. Power pretending to be justice. You mean someone who fights back, Maya said quietly. Someone who doesn't just take it when your golden boys decide to have their fun. That's my particular background. And you're right. Maybe Greystone isn't ready for someone like me. She walked out of the office without waiting for permission. Her steps echoed in the sudden silence she left behind. The hallway was crowded with students who should have been in class. They had gathered in clusters near the office phones, out watching shaky videos of the fight on their screens. Whispers followed Maya as she walked past. Did you see how fast she moved? My brother does martial arts. He said those moves were professional level. Bryce never saw it coming. None of them did. She took down 3 guys in like 10 seconds. They better expel her before she hurts someone else. Nah, man, those guys had it coming. Everyone knows what Bryce is like. Maya kept walking, head high, shoulders back. She found an empty bench near the front entrance and sat down to wait for her mother. Her phone buzzed, then buzzed again, and again. Notifications flooding in faster than she could read them. The videos were spreading, beyond the school now, reaching local social media groups, comment sections exploding with opinions and reactions. Some called her a hero for standing up to bullies. Others called her a violent thug who needed to be expelled. The debate was already raging, and it had only been 20 minutes since the fight. Angela burst through the front doors 15 minutes later, still wearing her nursing scrubs. Her eyes found Maya immediately, scanned her for injuries, checked her face, her hands, looking for damage. Are you hurt? I'm fine, Mom. They didn't touch me. Well, they tried. Angela's expression cycled through relief and then hardened into something fierce. Tell me everything. Right now. Every detail. They sat together on the bench while Maya explained what happened. The cornering. The phone being knocked away. Tyler grabbing her wrist. Her response. The aftermath. Angela listened without interrupting. Her jaw grew tighter with every word. And they suspended you. Angela's voice was dangerously calm. You defended yourself against 3 attackers, and they suspended you. 10 days. Pending investigation and a school board hearing. Angela pulled out her phone and started typing furiously. We're getting a lawyer. Tonight. And I'm calling the superintendent. And the local news if I have to. They are not going to bury this. Mom. Maya put her hand on her mother's arm. They're going to try to paint me as the bad guy. The dangerous one. You know how this works. I don't care how it works. Angela's eyes blazed with a fury Maya had rarely seen. I didn't raise my daughter to be a victim. And I'm not going to let these people victimize her for refusing to be one. They drove home in tense silence. Angela gripped the steering wheel like she was imagining it was someone's neck. Maya watched the familiar streets pass by outside her window. Already planning. Already thinking 3 steps ahead. At home, she went straight to her room and opened her laptop. Her phone was still blowing up with notifications, but she ignored them for now. She had research to do. She typed Greystone Academy incidents into the search bar, scrolled past sports headlines and honor roll announcements, looking for something specific, something that would confirm what she already suspected. An hour into her search, she found it. A small article in the local paper from March of the previous year. The headline was deliberately vague. Local student withdraws after alleged incident at Greystone Academy. The article provided almost no details. A student named Sophia Reyes had left the school mid-semester following what administration called a misunderstanding. No specifics were given, no names mentioned. Just a generic statement from the school spokesman about prioritizing student safety and privacy. Misunderstanding. Maya stared at the word. The same word they would probably use to describe what happened to her today. A misunderstanding. Boys being boys. Nothing to see here. She searched for Sophia Reyes on social media. Most accounts were locked down tight with privacy settings, but an old Instagram profile appeared in the results. Public. Abandoned. Last active 14 months ago. The most recent post stopped Maya's breath. A blurry photo taken in what looked like a school hallway. A male figure looming behind a smaller female figure at a locker. The threatening body language was unmistakable even through the poor image quality. The caption read, "Believe girls even when they whisper." Maya leaned closer to her screen, studying the photo. The male figure was distorted by the blur, but something about the stance was familiar. The way he stood over the girl. The entitlement in his posture. The assumption of power. She had seen that stance today, in the gymnasium, right before everything changed. Her bedroom door opened. Angela stood in the doorway, phone in hand. "Baby. I just got off the phone with Lisa Hernandez. She's a civil rights attorney who handles cases like this. She wants to meet with us tomorrow morning. She thinks we have a strong case." "That's good, Mom." Maya didn't look up from her laptop. "What are you looking at?" Angela walked over and peered at the screen. Her expression shifted when she saw the photo. "Who is that?" "Her name is Sophia Reyes. She was a student at Greystone until last year. She left suddenly in the middle of the semester. The school called it a misunderstanding." Angela's eyes narrowed. "You think Bryce was involved? I think this photo was taken at Greystone. And I think that figure behind her looks a lot like someone we both know. And I think if it happened to her, and it happened to me, then it's probably happened to others." Maya finally looked up at her mother. "They have a system, Mom, a way of protecting certain people and destroying anyone who threatens them. They've been doing it for years, maybe decades. I'm not the first person Bryce has targeted. I'm just the first one who fought back where everyone could see." Angela sat down on the edge of Maya's bed. Her face was grave. "What are you thinking about doing?" "I'm thinking about finding Sophia Reyes, and anyone else they've silenced. I'm thinking about showing everyone exactly who these people really are. That's dangerous, baby. These people have money, power, connections. If you start digging into their secrets, they're going to come after you harder than ever. They're already coming after me." Maya closed her laptop and faced her mother directly. "They suspended me for defending myself. They're going to try to expel me, try to destroy my record, try to make sure I can never get into a good college. They've already decided I'm the enemy. The only question now is whether I fight back or let them win." Angela was quiet for a long moment. Her eyes glistened with unshed tears. But beneath the moisture, there was something else, something fierce and proud. "I spent years being afraid," Angela said softly. "Years letting a man control me because I thought I had no choice. Years teaching you to survive in a world that doesn't want girls like us to do more than survive. But you're not just surviving anymore, are you? You're fighting. I learned from the best." Maya reached out and took her mother's hand. "You got us out, Mom. You built a whole new life from nothing. You taught me that being strong isn't about never getting knocked down. It's about getting back up every single time." Angela squeezed her daughter's hand tightly. "Then we fight. Together. Whatever it takes." That night, Maya created a new email account. Anonymous, untraceable. She composed a careful message and sent it to the contact information linked to Sophia Reyes's abandoned Instagram. "I know what happened to you at Greystone wasn't a misunderstanding. The same people are still there, still doing the same things, still being protected. I'm fighting back now. Your story could help. If you're willing to talk, I promise you won't be alone anymore." She hit send and waited. The response came at 2:47 a.m. Maya was still awake, unable to sleep, when her phone buzzed with a new email notification. She opened it with trembling fingers. "I've been waiting 14 months for someone to believe me. Where do you want to meet?" Maya stared at those words for a long time. A smile slowly spread across her face. Not a happy smile, something sharper, more dangerous. The game had just changed, and Greystone Academy had no idea what was coming. Sunday morning arrived cold and gray. Maya had barely slept 3 hours, but her mind was sharp as a blade. She checked her phone for the 100th time. Sophia's last message confirmed everything. 10 a.m., Riverside Cafe, 30 miles outside of town where no one from Greystone would see them. Angela insisted on driving. She didn't say much during the ride, but her knuckles were white on the steering wheel. Mother and daughter both understood what this meeting could mean, what doors it might open, what dangers it might unleash. The cafe sat between a laundromat and a discount grocery store. Working-class neighborhood. The kind of place where Greystone families would never set foot. The kind of place where secrets could be shared without wealthy ears listening. Maya spotted her immediately. Sophia Reyes sat alone in the back corner booth, hood pulled low over her face, hands wrapped around a coffee cup like it was the only warm thing in her world. She was pretty in a fragile way. Dark hair, delicate features, but something in her eyes looked broken, haunted by memories that wouldn't let her sleep. "You came alone." Sophia's voice was barely above a whisper. Her eyes darted toward the door, toward the windows, checking for threats that might not exist but felt real anyway. "My mom's outside in the car." Maya slid into the seat across from her. "She wanted to give us privacy, but she's close if we need her." Sophia nodded slowly. Her fingers trembled slightly against the ceramic cup. "I almost didn't come. I've spent 14 months trying to forget Greystone exists, trying to pretend none of it happened. Then I saw your email, and it all came flooding back. I'm sorry for bringing up painful memories." "Don't be." Sophia finally looked up, met Maya's eyes directly. Something fierce flickered behind the fear. "I'm glad someone finally believes me. I'm glad someone is fighting back. I just wish I had been strong enough to do what you did." "What happened to you, Sophia?" The question hung in the air between them, heavy, dangerous, full of truth that had been buried too long. Sophia took a deep breath. Her hands tightened around the cup until her knuckles went white. It started small, like it always does. Comments about my body in the hallways. Jokes about whether I was legal. Bryce would brush against me between classes, corner me at my locker. His friends would laugh and record everything on their phones. Maya felt her jaw tighten, but she kept her expression neutral. Let Sophia tell her story at her own pace. I reported it 3 times. Sophia's voice cracked. The first time the counselor said I was misinterpreting cultural differences. Like being Latina meant I didn't understand what harassment looked like. The second time she said Bryce came from a good family, and I should be more careful about making accusations. The third time she told me maybe I should transfer to a different school if I was unhappy. "What about your parents?" "My mom worked 2 jobs to afford Greystone's tuition." Sophia wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. She believed me, but she didn't know how to fight people with that kind of money, that kind of power. She kept saying we should wait, gather evidence, be patient. Maya's hands clenched into fists beneath the table. She knew exactly how that story ended. Then came the party. Sophia's voice dropped so low, Maya had to lean forward to hear. End of junior year. Someone's lake house. I didn't want to go, but my friend convinced me it would help me fit in. Help people see me as something other than the girl who complained. She paused, drew a shaky breath. Bryce found me alone on the dock. He'd been drinking. A lot. He said he wanted to apologize for the misunderstandings. Said he wanted to start fresh. I was stupid enough to believe him. You weren't stupid. Maya's voice was fierce. You were trusting. There's a difference. Sophia's tears fell freely now. She didn't bother wiping them away. He followed me when I went inside to use the bathroom, pushed me into one of the bedrooms, locked the door behind him. I screamed. I fought. I scratched his face hard enough to draw blood, but he was so much bigger and so much stronger, and I couldn't. She couldn't finish the sentence, couldn't say the words out loud. Maya reached across the table and took Sophia's trembling hands in her own. I believe you. 3 words, simple and devastating. Sophia sobbed openly now, 14 months of silence breaking apart like ice in spring. Someone heard me screaming, one of the other guys. He broke down the door and pulled Bryce off me before he could finish what he started. But by the next morning, Bryce was telling everyone I attacked him first, that I led him on and then freaked out, that I was crazy and dangerous, and the school believed him. The school didn't just believe him. Sophia pulled a phone from her pocket. Her hands shook as she navigated to a saved voicemail. His father called me. Richard Preston, president of the school board. Listen. She hit play. A cold male voice filled the space between them. Miss Reyes, this is Richard Preston. I understand you've been spreading some disturbing lies about my son. I want to make something very clear. If you continue down this path, there will be consequences. Your mother's work visa is up for renewal next month. It would be a shame if there were complications with that process. Greystone has many friends in many places. I strongly suggest you reconsider your position, for your family's sake. The message ended. Maya stared at the phone. Her blood ran cold, then hot, then cold again. He threatened your mother's immigration status. He threatened everything. Sophia saved the phone, pulled out a folder thick with papers. I kept everything, Maya. Every threatening text from Bryce. Every photo of the scratches he left on my arms. Every document from the school dismissing my complaints. I have emails between teachers talking about how to handle the situation quietly. I have records of the donation Richard Preston made to the school 2 weeks after I withdrew, $200,000. Hush money disguised as philanthropy. Maya took the folder with reverent hands. This was a bomb, a weapon of truth powerful enough to destroy everything Greystone had built. Why didn't you go to the police? Richard Preston's brother is the chief of police. Sophia laughed bitterly. His cousin sits on the city council. His college roommate runs the local newspaper. These people don't just have power, Maya. They are power. The whole system exists to protect them and crush anyone who threatens them. Maya opened the folder. Page after page of evidence. Dates, names, photographs, recordings. Everything Sophia had gathered while pretending to stay silent. Why are you giving this to me? Because you did something I couldn't do. Sophia leaned forward. Her eyes burned with 14 months of suppressed rage. You fought back. You hit Bryce Preston so hard he couldn't pretend he was invincible anymore. You showed everyone that he can bleed, that he can fall, that someone can stand up to him and survive. She grabbed Maya's hand tightly. I was too scared to use this evidence alone, too afraid of what they would do to my family. But you're not afraid, are you? I'm terrified. Maya admitted it honestly. But I'm more afraid of what happens if no one stops them. How many more girls, Sophia? How many more have they silenced? How many more will there be if we let them win? Sophia was quiet for a long moment. Then she nodded slowly. There are others. At least 2 that I know of. Girls who transferred out suddenly with no explanation. I tried to find them, but their families moved away, disappeared, like they never existed. We need to find them. Maya's mind was racing. Build a case so strong that even Richard Preston can't make it disappear. They talked for another hour, exchanged contact information, made plans. By the time Maya walked back to her mother's car, she carried the folder like it was made of gold. Angela took one look at her daughter's face and knew. You found something. I found everything. Maya climbed into the passenger seat. Her heart was pounding, but her hands were steady. They've been doing this for years, Mom. Maybe decades. Sophia isn't the only victim. She's just the only one who kept evidence. We have texts, photos, recordings, even a voicemail from Richard Preston threatening her family. Angela's face went pale. His brother is the police chief, Maya. His family owns half this town. If you go after him with this, then I go after him with everything. Maya opened the folder, showed her mother page after page of documented abuse. They can't silence all of us, Mom. Sophia, me. Whatever other victims we can find, if we all speak up together, if we make enough noise that people outside this town have to pay attention. Angela stared at the evidence for a long time. When she looked up, her eyes were wet, but her voice was steel. Then we make noise. They drove home in determined silence, both of them understanding that everything had changed. This wasn't about suspension anymore. This wasn't about one fight in a gymnasium. This was war. Monday morning, Maya should have been in school. Instead, she sat at the kitchen table with her laptop open and Sophia's evidence spread around her like pieces of a puzzle. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Saw what you did to Preston. Heard you're looking for others. I might know someone. Call me. Maya stared at the message. Her thumb hovered over the call button. This could be a trap. Could be someone working for Bryce trying to figure out what she knew. Could be exactly what it appeared to be. She called. A woman's voice answered. Older. Tired. Familiar somehow. Is this Maya Thompson, who's asking? My name is Dorothy Williams. I've worked as a custodian at Greystone Academy for 23 years. I've seen things. Things they think nobody notices. Things they don't think matter because I'm just the cleaning lady. Maya's grip tightened on the phone. What kind of things? The kind of things that would put Richard Preston and his son exactly where they belong. I've been waiting a long time for someone brave enough to use them. You seem like that someone. Why now? Why me? Because I watched those videos of you fighting back. Because I saw you refuse to be a victim. Because I'm 63 years old and I'm tired of watching them destroy young girls and get away with it. Dorothy's voice cracked with emotion. I have copies of security footage they think was deleted, incident reports that were supposed to be shredded. I have names and dates going back 15 years. I've been building this file since before you were born. I just never had anyone strong enough to help me use it. Maya could barely breathe. Why didn't you go to the police yourself? Because I'm a black woman who cleans toilets for a living and they're the most powerful family in Connecticut. Dorothy laughed bitterly. Who do you think anyone would believe but you? You're a student, a victim, a fighter. You have social media and viral videos and a lawyer mother fighting beside you. You have what I never had. A platform. What do you want from me? I want you to meet me. See what I have. Decide if it's enough to burn their whole rotten empire to the ground. Maya was quiet for a long moment. Her mother had stopped pretending to do dishes and was listening openly now. Where and when tomorrow night? 8 p.m. Storage unit on Route 7. Unit 247. Come alone or bring your mother. No one else. And Maya? Yes. Be careful. Richard Preston has eyes everywhere. If he finds out what you're planning before you're ready, he won't just try to expel you. He'll try to destroy you completely. The line went dead. Maya set down her phone. Her hands were trembling. Her heart raced. Her mind spun with possibilities. Mom, I heard. Angela sat down across from her daughter. Her face was grave. This is getting dangerous, baby. Really dangerous. We're not just fighting a bully anymore. We're taking on an entire system. I know. Maya looked at her mother with eyes that seemed older than her 16 years. But if we don't, who will? How many more Sophias? How many more girls destroyed while everyone looks away? Someone has to stop them, Mom. Why not us? Angela reached across the table, took her daughter's face in her hands, looked at her with a mixture of terror and overwhelming pride. You're so much stronger than I ever was at your age, so much braver. Sometimes it scares me. You made me this way. I know. Angela kissed her daughter's forehead. That scares me too. Tuesday night arrived faster than seemed possible. Maya and Angela drove to the storage facility in silence. The route took them past the edge of town into an industrial area full of warehouses and chain-link fences. Unit 247 was in the back corner. A light burned inside. The door was slightly open. Maya pushed it the rest of the way. Dorothy Williams stood in the center of the small space. She was older than Maya expected. Gray hair pulled back in a neat bun. Kind eyes lined with decades of watching and waiting. Hands rough from years of honest work. But it was what surrounded her that stopped Maya's breath. Filing cabinets lined every wall. Boxes stacked floor to ceiling. Folders organized by year stretching back to 2008. Photographs. Documents. Recording devices. Thumb drives. A lifetime of evidence gathered by someone everyone overlooked. 23 years. Dorothy's voice was quiet, but carried the weight of conviction. 23 years of watching them hurt people and get away with it. 23 years of saving everything I could. Waiting for the right moment, the right person. She turned to face Maya directly. I think you're that person, Maya Thompson. I think you're the one who can finally make them pay. Maya walked slowly through the storage unit. Her fingers traced the spines of folders, each one labeled with a name, a date, a destroyed life. So many, more than you know. Dorothy pulled out a thick folder and handed it to Maya. Bryce Preston. Everything I have on him specifically. Complaints, incidents, victims who transferred or withdrew. His father's donations that always came right after a girl disappeared. The pattern is clear if you know what to look for. Maya opened the folder. Page after page of horror documented in cold, bureaucratic language. This goes to the school board, the police, the media. All of them. Dorothy's eyes blazed with righteous fire, simultaneously. So none of them can bury it. So they can't protect each other like they always do. We hit them everywhere at once, and we don't stop until the whole world knows what Greystone Academy really is. Angela stepped forward. Her voice was protective, cautious. This could be dangerous for you too, Dorothy, if they find out you're the source. I'm 63 years old. Dorothy smiled grimly. I've got a pension and a sister in Florida. Worst they can do is fire me. But those girls they hurt. They have their whole lives ahead of them. Lives that shouldn't be defined by what Richard Preston's son did to them. She looked at Maya with something approaching reverence. You fought back. You showed them they could bleed. Now let's show them they can fall. Maya looked at her mother. Angela's face was conflicted, terrified. But beneath the fear was something harder. Something forged by years of her own battles. Angela nodded once. We do this together. Maya turned back to Dorothy. Tell me everything, from the beginning. And Dorothy did. For 3 hours, she walked them through 23 years of documented abuse. Names and dates and incidents that painted a picture of systematic cruelty protected by wealth and power. Girls destroyed, families threatened, truth buried under donations and influence. By the time she finished, Maya understood exactly what she was up against, and exactly how to destroy it. She gathered the most damning evidence into her bag, shook Dorothy's hand firmly. Thank you. For everything. For never giving up. Don't thank me yet. Dorothy's eyes were serious. Thank me when Richard Preston is in handcuffs and his son is facing justice. Thank me when Greystone Academy has to answer for every life they ruined. Maya walked out of that storage unit, carrying the weight of 23 years of secrets. The war had just begun, and she intended to win. Wednesday morning, Maya woke to her phone exploding with notifications. She grabbed it from the nightstand, and her blood ran cold. Someone had vandalized their car overnight. Angela was already outside staring at the damage when Maya rushed through the front door. Deep scratches carved into the driver's side door spelled out 2 words that made Maya's stomach turn. Gone yet. Angela's hands trembled as she photographed the damage. Her face was pale, but her voice was steady. They know. Somehow they know we're planning something. Maya circled the car slowly. The scratches were deep, deliberate, made with something sharp like a key or a knife. This wasn't random vandalism. This was a message. We need to call the police and tell them what. Angela laughed bitterly. Richard Preston's brother is the chief, remember? You think he's going to investigate his own nephew's handiwork? Then we document it ourselves, add it to our evidence. Maya pulled out her own phone and started recording video of every angle. The scratches, the threatening words, the timestamp on her phone showing it was 6:47 a.m. Wednesday morning. They're trying to scare us, Mom. Is it working? Angela's voice cracked slightly. Maya looked at her mother, really looked, saw the fear she was trying to hide. The same fear that had kept Angela trapped in an abusive marriage for years. The same fear that almost destroyed both of them. No. Maya's voice was firm. It's making me angry. And anger is more useful than fear. Her phone buzzed. A text from Sophia. Check local news. Now. Maya opened her browser and felt the ground shift beneath her feet. The headline screamed across every local news site. Greystone Academy student violently attacks classmates. Parents demand expulsion. Below the headline was a carefully edited video. The fight in the gymnasium, but cut to remove everything before Maya's first strike. No context. No cornering. No phone being slapped away. Just Maya Thompson attacking 3 innocent students without provocation. The article quoted concerned parents, worried teachers. A statement from Coach Davis, expressing shock that such violence could occur at their prestigious academy. And a lengthy quote from Richard Preston himself. Our community is deeply troubled by this unprovoked attack on our students. Greystone Academy has always been a safe haven for young people to learn and grow. We will not allow violent individuals to threaten that safety. The school board will be meeting this Friday to discuss permanent expulsion, and we are exploring all legal options to protect our children from further harm. Maya read the words 3 times. Each reading made her angrier. They're controlling the narrative. They released the edited video before we could release the real one. Angela looked over her shoulder at the screen. This is Richard Preston. This is what he does. He attacks first, shapes the story before anyone else can, makes his victim look like the aggressor. Then we need to move faster. Maya was already dialing. Dorothy answered on the second ring. I saw the news. Dorothy's voice was grim. They're accelerating their timeline, trying to destroy you before you can expose them. We need to release everything now, today. No. Dorothy's response was sharp, urgent. Listen to me, Maya. If we release everything piecemeal, they'll spin each piece individually. Discredit each witness one by one. We need to hit them all at once. Maximum impact. No time to recover. They're calling a school board meeting Friday to expel me. I know. Dorothy paused. Which is exactly when we strike. Friday night. Homecoming pep rally. Every parent in town will be there. Local media covers it every year. 2,000 witnesses. Live streaming. Perfect stage. Maya's mind raced through the possibilities. You want to broadcast everything during the pep rally. I want to burn their house down while they're standing in it. Dorothy's voice carried 23 years of suppressed rage. I have access to the stadium's AV system. I can patch our video into the Jumbotron at exactly the right moment. They'll be celebrating their perfect school while the world watches their crimes play out on a 50-foot screen. That's insane. That's justice. Maya was silent for a long moment. What do you need from me? Compile everything into one video. Sophia's testimony, my evidence, your fight footage, all of it. Make it impossible to deny, make it impossible to ignore. And Maya. Yes. Be ready for war. Because once that video plays, Richard Preston will come at you with everything he has. I'm counting on it. Maya ended the call. Her hands were shaking, but not from fear. Mom, we have 2 days. Angela nodded slowly. Her fear was transforming into something harder, something familiar. Then we better get to work. They worked through Wednesday night without sleep. Maya edited footage while Angela organized documents. Sophia sent additional evidence through encrypted messages. Dorothy coordinated timing from her position inside the school. By Thursday morning, they had a 20-minute video that would destroy the Preston family. It started with Sophia's testimony. Her tearful account of harassment and assault. The voicemail from Richard Preston threatening her family. Photos of her injuries. Documents showing the school's systematic cover-up. Then came Dorothy's evidence. 15 years of incident reports. Victim after victim. Pattern after pattern. Donations that arrived like clockwork after each girl disappeared. Finally, Maya's story. The unedited gymnasium footage showing Bryce and his friends cornering her. The phone being slapped away. Tyler grabbing her wrist, her controlled response. The truth that had been edited out of every news report. The video ended with a simple message. This is Greystone Academy. This is who they protect. This is who they destroy. No more silence. Maya watched the final cut 3 times. Each viewing made her more certain, more resolved. This will work. Angela put her hand on her daughter's shoulder. This will change everything, for everyone. You understand that, right? Once this goes public, there's no going back. I know. Maya turned to face her mother. I'm ready. Thursday night brought an unexpected visitor. Maya was reviewing the video one final time when the doorbell rang. Angela answered it and immediately tried to close the door. You need to leave. Right now. Mrs. Thompson, please. Just 5 minutes. Maya recognized that voice. Her blood turned to ice. She walked to the door and saw Bryce Preston standing on their front porch. Alone. No friends. No smirk. His face was pale and his hands were shaking. What do you want? I want to talk. Bryce's voice cracked. Please. 5 minutes. Then I'll leave. I promise. Angela stepped between them protectively. You have some nerve showing up here after what you did. After what your father did to our car. That wasn't me. Bryce held up his hands. I swear. I didn't know about the car until this morning. That was my dad's people. He's been making calls all week, threatening people. I told him to stop, but he won't listen. Maya studied his face, looking for the lie, looking for the trap. Why should I believe anything you say? Because I'm scared. Bryce's voice broke completely. My father found out about the video you're planning to release. I don't know how, but he knows, and he's planning something for tomorrow night. Something bad. I came to warn you. Angela grabbed Maya's arm. Don't listen to him. This is a trick. He's trying to find out what we know. It's not a trick. Bryce was crying now, actually crying, tears streaming down his face. I've done terrible things. I know that. I've hurt people. Sophia. Others. I told myself it was just playing around, just fun, but it wasn't. I see that now. And my father, the things he's done to protect me, the people he's destroyed. He wiped his eyes with the back of his hand. I can't stop him, Maya. He won't listen to me. But you can. The video you have. Release it. All of it. Tonight, if you can. Before he has a chance to do whatever he's planning. Maya felt the world tilt sideways. You want me to release evidence that will destroy your own father? I want this to end. Bryce met her eyes directly for the first time since she'd known him. I want to stop being the monster everyone is afraid of. I want to stop waking up and hating what I see in the mirror. I've spent my whole life being Richard Preston's son, following his rules, becoming what he wanted me to be. And I'm tired. I'm so tired of being this person. Maya didn't know what to say. This wasn't the Bryce Preston she had fought in the gymnasium. This was someone broken. Someone desperate. Why should I trust you? You shouldn't. Bryce laughed bitterly. I wouldn't trust me either. But I'm telling you the truth about tomorrow. My father has something planned. Something that will make your video worthless. You need to move faster than he expects. What is he planning? I don't know exactly. Just that he made calls today. Lots of calls. And he looked happy afterward. My father only looks happy when he's destroying someone. Maya's phone buzzed. A text from Dorothy. Something's wrong. Security footage from today shows men in suits meeting with administration. Unknown. Not local. Come to the school tomorrow early, before the rally. We need to talk. Maya showed the text to her mother. Angela's face went pale. This could still be a trap. It's not. Bryce stepped back from the door. I'll go. I've said what I came to say. But Maya. For what it is worth. I'm sorry. For the gym. For everything. I know it doesn't mean anything. I know I can't take it back. But I'm sorry. He turned and walked away into the darkness. Maya and Angela stood in the doorway for a long moment. Neither spoke. Finally, Angela broke the silence. Do you believe him? Maya thought about the fear in Bryce's eyes. The tears. The trembling hands. I believe he's scared. Whether that makes him trustworthy? I don't know. What do? We move up our timeline. Maya grabbed her phone and started dialing. Dorothy, change of plans. We release everything tomorrow morning. 8 a.m. Before the rally. Before whatever Richard Preston is planning. Dorothy was quiet for a moment. That's risky. We lose the dramatic impact. We might lose everything if we wait. Bryce just showed up at my house. Warned me his father knows about our video. Something's happening tomorrow that we don't know about. Another pause. Longer this time. Okay. 8 a.m. I'll adjust the technical side. You make sure the video is ready to upload to every platform simultaneously. It's ready. Then get some sleep, Maya. Tomorrow, everything changes. Maya didn't sleep. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling, running through every scenario, every possibility, every way this could go wrong. At 3 a.m., her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. You should have stayed quiet. Now you'll learn what happens to people who threaten the Preston family. Maya stared at the message. Her hands didn't shake. She typed back a single word. Bring it. Friday morning arrived like a storm. Maya was dressed and ready by 6 a.m. Black clothes, comfortable shoes, hair pulled back tight. She looked like she was preparing for battle, because she was. Angela drove her to school despite the suspension. They parked across the street where they could see the main entrance. At 7:45, Maya opened her laptop, connected to the school's Wi-Fi that Dorothy had given her access to. At 7:55, she logged into every social media platform she had created fake accounts on over the past 2 days. At 7:59, she positioned her finger over the upload button. At 8:00 a.m. exactly, she pressed it. The video went live simultaneously on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Maya had tagged every local news station, every national news organization, and every journalist who had ever covered school abuse stories. Then she sat back and watched the numbers climb. 100 views in the first minute, 500 by minute 3, 2,000 by minute 5. Comments started flooding in. Oh my God, is this real? That voicemail from the father. Holy shit, someone call the police. This needs to go viral. How is this school still open? Maya's phone started ringing. Unknown numbers, reporter numbers probably. She let them go to voicemail. At 8:23, her phone buzzed with a text from Dorothy. It's working. Teachers are watching on their phones. Administration is in full panic mode. Lambert just ran to Preston's office. At 8:31, Sophia texted. I'm watching the numbers. 50,000 views. National outlets are picking it up. At 8:47, Angela grabbed Maya's arm. Look, 3 police cars pulled into the school parking lot. Not local police. State troopers. Maya's heart stopped. They're coming for me. No. Angela's voice was strange, almost wondering. Look at where they're going. The state troopers walked past the main entrance, past the administration building. They were heading toward the athletic complex where the homecoming rally was being set up, toward where Richard Preston was meeting with the principal. Maya's phone rang. Dorothy's number. Maya, you need to see this. Get to the gymnasium, now. Maya and Angela ran across the street, through the front entrance, past stunned teachers who were too distracted by their phones to stop them. They reached the gymnasium just in time to see Richard Preston being led out in handcuffs. His face was purple with rage. He was shouting at the troopers, demanding to know who authorized this, threatening lawsuits and ruined careers. But the troopers didn't stop. Behind them came 2 more officers leading Coach Davis in handcuffs. Then, Mr. Lambert. Then 3 more administrators Maya didn't recognize. Dorothy appeared at Maya's side. State Attorney General's office. Apparently your video wasn't the only evidence they received this morning. Someone sent them my complete files. All 15 years. Enough for multiple felony charges. Maya stared at the parade of arrests. You sent them your files an hour before your video went live. Dorothy smiled grimly. Insurance. In case Richard tried to suppress the video. Hard to suppress anything when you're being arrested for conspiracy and obstruction of justice. The gymnasium was chaos. Students streaming in for the rally stood frozen watching their school's leadership being led away in handcuffs. Parents who had arrived early for good seats stared in disbelief. News cameras that were supposed to cover homecoming were capturing something far more historic. Maya's phone showed the video had passed 200,000 views. Comments were now in the thousands. Justice finally. Arrest them all. How many girls did they hurt? This is everywhere. CNN just picked it up. Maya felt her mother's arms wrap around her from behind. You did it, baby. Angela's voice was thick with tears. You actually did it. Maya watched Richard Preston being pushed into the back of a state trooper's car. His perfect suit was rumpled. His perfect hair was disheveled. His perfect life was over. But she felt no joy, only a strange emptiness where the rage used to be. It's not over yet. Maya pulled away from her mother's embrace. There are still victims who need justice, families who need closure, a whole system that needs to change, one battle at a time. Dorothy put her hand on Maya's shoulder. Today you won the first one. Today you showed them they can fall. Tomorrow we make sure they never get back up. Across the parking lot, Bryce Preston stood alone, watching his father being driven away. His face was unreadable. Maya caught his eye. He nodded once, then turned and walked away. The war wasn't over. But the tide had turned, and Maya Thompson was just getting started. The weeks following Richard Preston's arrest transformed everything Maya thought she knew about justice. News vans camped outside the Thompson house for 3 straight days. Reporters shouted questions every time Maya or Angela stepped outside. National networks ran the gymnasium video on loop. Social media exploded with hashtags and debates, and millions of people suddenly aware of a small Connecticut town they had never heard of. Maya refused every interview request. Let the evidence speak for itself, she told her mother. I don't want to become a celebrity. I just wanted them to stop. But the story kept growing. By Monday morning, the video had reached 15 million views. Former Greystone students came forward by the dozens. Girls who had stayed silent for years suddenly found their voices. Each testimony added another layer to the picture of systematic abuse that had flourished under Richard Preston's protection. The state attorney general held a press conference Tuesday afternoon. Maya watched it on her laptop with Angela beside her. Our investigation has uncovered evidence of criminal conspiracy spanning more than 15 years, the attorney general announced. We have identified at least 23 victims of harassment, assault, and intimidation connected to Greystone Academy. Multiple arrests are forthcoming. We are also investigating potential federal civil rights violations. 23 victims. Maya thought about Dorothy's files, about Sophia's tears, about all the girls who had disappeared quietly, their stories buried under donations and threats. 23 that they knew about. How many more had never come forward at all? Her phone buzzed. A text from Sophia. Are you watching? Yes, it's really happening. They're actually going to pay. Maya stared at those words for a long moment. This is just the beginning, she typed back. There's still a long way to go. Wednesday brought the emergency school board meeting. Maya wasn't supposed to be there. Her suspension was still technically in effect. But when she walked through the community center doors, no one tried to stop her. The room was packed beyond capacity. Parents stood along the walls. Students crowded the doorways. News cameras lined the back, their red lights blinking like watchful eyes. The remaining school board members sat at a long table at the front of the room. Richard Preston's chair was conspicuously empty. So were 3 others belonging to board members who had resigned in disgrace over the past 48 hours. Dr. Patricia Reeves, the interim chairperson, called the meeting to order. Her voice was steady, but her hands trembled slightly as she adjusted her microphone. This emergency session will address the systemic failures at Greystone Academy and establish immediate reforms to ensure student safety. A parent in the front row stood up without being recognized. Systemic failures. That's what you're calling it. My daughter was harassed for 2 years, and every complaint was ignored. That's not a failure. That's a crime. Voices erupted throughout the room. Angry parents, frightened students, teachers who had looked the other way now facing the consequences of their silence. Dr. Reeves raised her hand for quiet. I understand your anger. I share it. But we must proceed in an orderly fashion if we are to achieve meaningful change. She shuffled through papers on the table. First order of business. The immediate reinstatement of Maya Thompson. Maya felt her mother's hand grip her arm tightly. Miss Thompson was suspended for defending herself against 3 attackers. Dr. Reeves continued. That suspension is hereby rescinded. Her record will be cleared of any disciplinary action related to the incident. Additionally, the board formally apologizes for the handling of her case. The room erupted in applause. Maya sat frozen in her seat. This wasn't what she had expected. She had expected more fighting, more resistance, more of the same institutional protection that had let the Prestons operate for so long. Dr. Reeves wasn't finished. Second order of business. The immediate termination of all staff members implicated in covering up harassment complaints. This includes Assistant Principal Lambert Coach Davis and 7 additional faculty members whose names will be released following legal review. More applause. Louder this time. Third order of business. The establishment of an independent oversight committee to review all past harassment complaints and ensure accountability going forward. This committee will include student representatives, parent advocates, and outside experts with no ties to Greystone. A reporter in the back shouted a question. What about the victims? What compensation will they receive? Dr. Reeves hesitated. That question will be addressed in civil proceedings. Several lawsuits have already been filed against the school district, the Preston family, and individual administrators. The board is committed to cooperating fully with all legal processes. Maya stood up. The room fell instantly silent. Every eye turned toward her. What about prevention? Her voice carried clearly, despite her racing heart. What about making sure this never happens again? Not just at Greystone, everywhere. How many other schools have their own Richard Prestons, their own protected predators, their own systems designed to silence victims? Dr. Reeves looked uncomfortable. Miss Thompson, those are larger questions than this board can address. Then address what you can. Maya stepped into the aisle. Mandatory reporting training for all staff. Clear disciplinary procedures that don't depend on who the accused students' parents are. Anonymous reporting systems, so victims don't have to face their abusers alone. Actual consequences that can't be bought off with donations. She was shaking now, but her voice stayed strong. You want to show you've changed. Then change. Don't just fire the people who got caught. Tear down the whole system that let them operate. Build something better in its place. The room was absolutely still. Then someone started clapping. Then another person. Then the whole room erupted. Dr. Reeves nodded slowly. Miss Thompson raises valid points. I move that we establish a comprehensive reform committee to address all of her suggestions. Do I have a second? Seconded. All in favor? Every remaining board member raised their hand. Maya sank back into her seat. Angela wrapped an arm around her shoulders. I'm so proud of you, Angela whispered. So incredibly proud. Thursday brought an unexpected visitor to the Thompson house. Maya opened the door to find Bryce Preston standing on her porch for the second time. But this Bryce looked nothing like the arrogant athlete who had tormented her on the first day of school. His eyes were hollow. His clothes were rumpled. He hadn't shaved in days. I know you probably don't want to see me. His voice was raw. I wouldn't blame you if you slammed the door in my face, but I need to say something. And then I'll go. I promise. Maya studied him for a long moment. Say it. Bryce took a shaky breath. My father is going to prison, probably for a long time. His lawyer says the federal charges alone could mean 20 years. And I know that's justice. I know he deserves it for what he did to all those girls, for what he helped me get away with. His voice cracked. But he's still my father, and I hate him for what he is. But I also hate myself for still loving him. Does that make sense? Probably not. Nothing makes sense anymore. Maya didn't respond, just waited. I'm leaving. Greystone. Bryce continued. Transferring to a boarding school in Vermont. Getting away from here. From everything. My therapist says it's the right move. My mother says I need a fresh start. But I know the truth. I'm running away because I can't face what I did. Can't face the people I hurt. He looked directly at Maya. I hurt you. That first day in the hallway. In the cafeteria. In the gym. I hurt you because hurting people made me feel powerful. Made me feel like my father. And that was the worst thing about it. I wanted to be him. I wanted to be the monster. Tears streamed down his face. You stopped me. When you fought back. When you refused to be afraid. You stopped me from becoming something I couldn't come back from. And I hate that I'm grateful to you because I don't deserve to feel grateful. I don't deserve to feel anything except shame. Maya felt something shift inside her chest. Not forgiveness exactly. Something more complicated. You want absolution, she said quietly. You want me to tell you it's okay. That you're not really a bad person. That you can move on with a clean conscience. Bryce nodded miserably. I can't give you that. Maya stepped onto the porch, stood face to face with the boy who had made her first week at Greystone a nightmare. What you did to me. What you did to Sophia. What you did to all those other girls. That doesn't go away because you're sorry. That doesn't disappear because you're getting therapy. Those scars are permanent. We carry them forever. Bryce flinched like she had struck him. But here's what I can tell you. Maya's voice softened slightly. You have a choice now. Right now. Today and every day after. You can spend the rest of your life being ashamed of who you were. Or you can spend it becoming someone different. Someone better. Someone who uses his second chance to make sure no one else goes through what your victims went through. She met his eyes directly. That's not forgiveness. That's a challenge. Can you actually change? Can you actually become a person worthy of the life you get to keep living? I don't know. Only you can answer that. Bryce was silent for a long moment. Thank you, he finally said. Don't thank me, prove me right. Maya turned and walked back inside. She closed the door without looking back. Angela was waiting in the living room. You okay, baby? Maya thought about the question. Yeah, she said finally. I think I am. Friday afternoon, Lisa Hernandez, the civil rights attorney, called with news that changed everything. Maya put the phone on speaker so Angela could hear. The Department of Education just announced a federal investigation, Lisa said. Not just Greystone. They're looking at patterns across the entire state. Your case is going to be used as a model for identifying institutional cover-ups. They want you to testify before a congressional subcommittee. Maya's breath caught. Congress. The House Education Committee is holding hearings on school safety and accountability. Your testimony could help shape federal policy. This is bigger than Greystone now, Maya. This is about changing the system nationwide. Angela grabbed Maya's hand, squeezed hard. When 2 weeks? They'll fly you to Washington, cover all expenses. I'll be there with you every step of the way. Maya looked at her mother, saw the pride shining through the fear. Yes, Maya said. I'll do it. The 2 weeks passed in a blur of preparation. Lisa coached Maya on what to expect. How to handle hostile questioning. How to stay calm under pressure. How to tell her story in a way that would resonate with lawmakers who had never experienced what she had been through. Sophia called every day with encouragement. You're going to be amazing. You're going to change everything. Dorothy sent a card. 23 years. I waited for someone brave enough to fight. You exceeded every expectation. Go show Washington what justice looks like. The night before her flight, Maya sat with Angela in their small living room. Scared, terrified. Maya laughed softly. But I keep thinking about all the girls like me. All the girls who are being bullied right now. Who are being harassed and assaulted and silenced. What if my testimony helps even one of them? Then it's worth being scared. Angela pulled her daughter close. I used to pray you would never have to fight the battles I fought, that you would have an easier life, a safer life. But now I realize that's not who you are. You were born to fight Maya, born to stand up when others sit down, born to speak when others stay silent. She kissed Maya's forehead. I'm not scared for you anymore. I'm scared for anyone stupid enough to stand in your way. Washington was everything Maya expected and nothing like she imagined. The congressional hearing room was smaller than it looked on television, but the weight of history hung heavy in the air. Generations of witnesses had sat in this same chair, told their stories to these same walls, changed the course of the nation with their words. Maya took her seat behind the microphone. Cameras flashed. Reporters scribbled. Committee members shuffled papers and exchanged whispers. The chairwoman called the hearing to order. Ms. Thompson, thank you for being here today. We have reviewed your written testimony and the evidence you provided. Before we begin, questions, would you like to make an opening statement? Maya looked out at the assembled faces. Politicians, journalists, advocates. Her mother sitting in the front row with tears already streaming down her face. She leaned into the microphone. My name is Maya Thompson. I am 16 years old. 3 months ago, I transferred to Greystone Academy in Connecticut. On my first day, I was shoved, called racial slurs, and had food dumped on me in front of 200 students. When I reported it, I was told to stay quiet. When I defended myself, I was suspended. When I fought back with the truth, I was threatened with expulsion, and worse. Her voice didn't waver. I am not special. I am not unique. What happened to me happens every day in schools across this country. Girls like me are harassed, assaulted, silenced. The systems that are supposed to protect us instead protect our abusers. Money buys immunity. Power buys silence. And victims are left to suffer alone. She paused. I got lucky. I had a mother who taught me to fight. I had allies who helped me gather evidence. I had a viral video that made it impossible for the authorities to look away. But what about the girls who don't have those advantages? What about the girls who report their abuse and are ignored? Who fight back and are punished? Who stay silent because they know no one will believe them? Maya looked directly at the committee members. You have the power to change this, not with thoughts and prayers, with laws, with funding, with real consequences for administrators who protect abusers instead of victims, with systems that believe girls when they speak instead of questioning why they didn't stay quiet. She straightened in her chair. I'm not here to tell you a sad story. I'm here to demand action. Real action. Because while we sit in this beautiful room discussing policy, there is a girl somewhere being cornered by boys who know they will never face consequences. There is a victim being silenced by administrators who care more about donations than safety. There is another Maya Thompson praying for someone to believe her. Her voice rose. Be that someone. Pass laws that protect victims. Fund programs that prevent abuse. Hold institutions accountable when they fail. Don't let another girl suffer because you were too busy, too cautious, too afraid to act. Maya sat back. That's my statement. I'll answer your questions now. The questions went on for 3 hours. Maya answered every one, calmly, clearly, with the precision of someone who had spent her whole life preparing for this moment without knowing it. When the hearing finally ended, the committee chairwoman made an announcement. This committee will be introducing the Thompson Act, named for the remarkable young woman who testified here today. This legislation will mandate standardized reporting procedures, independent oversight committees, and federal consequences for institutions that fail to protect students from harassment and abuse. The room erupted in applause. Maya stood frozen, her name on a federal law. Lisa Hernandez hugged her tightly. You did it. You actually did it. Angela pushed through the crowd and wrapped her daughter in her arms. My baby. My warrior, look what you've done. Maya looked around the room, at the cameras, the reporters, the politicians lining up to shake her hand. This was never about fame or recognition. This was about justice. And justice had finally arrived. 6 months later, Maya walked through Greystone Academy's front doors one final time. The Confederate memorial plaques were gone. New security cameras covered every corner. A banner above the entrance proclaimed new leadership, new commitment, new beginning. Dorothy met her in the hallway. "Look at you." The old woman's eyes glistened. "Back where it all started. I wanted to see it." Maya looked around, wanted to see what we built. The gymnasium had been renamed the Thompson Reyes Center for Student Safety. A plaque by the door listed the names of every victim who had come forward. Sophia's name, Dorothy's name, Maya's name. Inside, students gathered for an assembly. Maya had been invited to speak, to share her story one more time with the people who needed to hear it most. She walked to the podium, looked out at hundreds of young faces, some skeptical, some inspired, all watching. A year ago, I was the new girl, the target, the victim they thought would stay silent. Her voice filled the gymnasium. I didn't stay silent. And because I didn't stay silent, everything changed. Not just for me, for Sophia, for Dorothy. For every girl who was told her story didn't matter. She paused. Some of you were there that day in the gym. Some of you recorded it. Some of you laughed. I'm not here for apologies. I'm here to tell you something more important. Maya looked directly at a girl in the front row who was crying quietly. If someone is hurting you, speak up. If someone is threatening you, fight back. If the system fails, you burn it down and build something better. You are not alone. You are not powerless. You are not voiceless. She raised her chin. I was just one girl against an entire institution, and I won. Not because I was special, because I refused to be silent, because I found allies who refused to look away, because I believed that truth was stronger than power. Her final words echoed through the gymnasium. Be the voice someone needs to hear. Be the fighter someone needs to see. Be the change that the world is waiting for. Because if not you, then who? If not now, then when? The applause that followed shook the walls. Maya stepped down from the podium. Angela was waiting with open arms. Sophia stood beside her, tears streaming down her face. Dorothy watched from the back of the room, nodding with quiet pride. Outside, the sun was shining on Greystone Academy for what felt like the first time. Maya walked through the front doors one last time, her mother on one side, her allies behind her, her future stretching out ahead like an open road. She had been knocked down, threatened, silenced, attacked. But she had never stopped fighting, and she never would. Some people are born to follow rules. Others are born to change them. Maya Thompson was born to break the chains that held others captive, and that was exactly what she had done.